How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Luke, I know that this is an early part of the process, a process that's going to go on for a while. But when it comes to the quarterback situation, are there some traits that you're looking for in terms of making an ultimate decision? What's going to go into that?
Yeah, I don't think traits necessarily is the right word. I think the evaluation of the performance on a whole. I think there's a lot of parts to it. I think it's the the way that the operation, right, making sure we're taking care of the football, and then the production part of it. I think, like you said, this is a long process. We're at the beginning stages of it. Everyone trying to get a grasp of what we're trying to accomplish, not just the Qs, but everybody. And so the good thing is we got a good group in that room. Those guys work their butt off, and they're competitive, but they're great teammates too at the same time. So the beginning part of this thing has been a lot of fun.
Luke, people don't necessarily understand. You can't bring the Chicago Bears playbook here. Different personnel, different team coaches, everything. So I'm curious. You didn't know that they were going to pick a Brock Bowers. How much of your playbook right now do you think are you still writing? Are you still going over? Are you still contemplating?
Yeah, I think there's certain things that are kind of non-negotiable in your play style, right? And the mindset and that you want to bring, no matter what style of play you have to have. And fortunately, I've been around a lot of really good football coaches that have kind of exposed me to a lot of different styles of play and different ways of approaching teams, and find different ways to attack the different styles of defense that we face each week. And so that's never going to change. And I think the part of our job is, you could go into week 3 thinking you have one style of roster, and in week 4 you can be in a completely different, right? You just use that example. We had completely 2 different styles of QBs in Chicago, and you go into different games and you have different ways of playing the game. And so that part of it is all real. And I think the most important thing is find a way to maximize the type of guy that you have, figuring out what they do well, and that's what the phase that we're in right now. We're all trying to figure each other out and figure out what we do best.
When you look at a pick like Brock Bowers, how excited are you to have him in the building, and how much do you think he'll be able to complement Michael Mayer as well within 12 personnel and kind of what they can do as a tandem?
Yeah, no, I'm extremely excited. I think Brock's a unique guy. I think it's been said here plenty of times. He was probably the best player in the SEC for some time there. While he was there, he won a bunch of games, and so anytime you can bring that type of caliber of player into your organization, you're going to get better. And you match him and you pair him with the talent that we already have here. I think that just makes you more dynamic. This league's about finding as many dynamic guys as you can get on your team. That's the goal. As you see the construction of all these teams in the league, everyone's trying to find those dynamic differences. And I think he's just one of those elements that gives us an opportunity to do a bunch of different things.
When we look at, speaking to the talent on the offense, when you look at Brock and Michael and Devontae, Jacoby, is this potentially the most talented group you've worked with in terms of weapons at your disposal?
It's a great group. I don't want to compare. Really, I've been fortunate to be on a lot of really good teams, right? And Aaron won 3 of his 4 MVPs while I was in Green Bay, and that's not because of just Aaron, right? There's a lot of talent around him too, and so this is a talented group, though. We're excited to work with them, and like you said, it's going to be really cool to find different ways to make it all mesh together, though. We're really excited to work with everybody.
Thayer Mumford told us last year that he was more comfortable on the left side. I'm just curious. Obviously, Colton's the guy there. So how do you work with a young player, helping them develop comfort at other positions? Yeah,
I think as much as anything, when you have comfort in knowing what you're supposed to do, I think that gives you the confidence to go out and execute your assignment at a higher level. And so, I think what's unique about Thayer is that he is talented enough to play either side, and he showed that last year, right? Playing on both sides, starting on both sides, I think that's a really cool element that we get to have exposure to. And so that part of it is whether you have more experience playing on one side or the other, that's usually what that's a reflection of. Have more comfort, because you've done it more times. And so I think our style of play that we have, and him have an opportunity to learn it right away now as we get into this thing, and him getting opportunities at one position will only benefit, and then he'll probably be saying the other way by the end of it.
One of the attributes you mentioned when you were talking about quarterback play was protecting the ball. I guess both from your philosophy and just your evaluation process of a quarterback, how do you balance protecting the ball with remaining aggressive and trying to find that balance where you're not just protecting the ball but at the cost of maybe explosive play?
Yeah, no, that's a really important, but all those factors go into it, right? If you're looking at a Q and say they had 9 interceptions and 7 of them were at the end of a half with Hail Mary, like you just looked at the ratio and said it was 2 to 1, right? 18-9 or something like that. But let's evaluate the why or the how. I think that's what you get into. And then as you start to connect to the concepts and connect to the scheme and what your approach is and why you're trying to do what you're going to do, you start paying attention to the defense. And so now you say, okay, I know the way this hook defender is going to react, so I'm going to be aggressive to this throw. But when you're in those unknown worlds and you're thrown with kind of like uncertainty, those are the ones that you can't have. And so I think as everyone starts learning the system and learning what we're trying to accomplish with each and every play, then that's how you become more aggressive and more confident in what you're going to do. And then that's also leaning on your teammate too, and trusting that they know what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing as well.
Sure, you've taken that deep dive into Aiden now in the last few months since taking this job. What is your evaluation of Aiden coming off that rookie season?
Yeah, no, I mean, to him to get thrown into the way he got thrown into and to see the adversity. I mean, I think it was like a 0. They didn't score, and then they go score all those points. I mean, that's a really cool reflection of the type of kid that he is and the approach that he brings. I mean, there's one thing that I would definitely pat him on the back for at this point is just the willingness to be taught and willingness to be vulnerable and this opportunity to get better. I mean, it's really cool to see a guy who's had success now really excited to learn some new stuff.
I know it's early in the process, but what have you thought about the running back room led by Zamir White?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool group. I think you have guys kind of have different backgrounds, different styles. But like I say all the time, I think I've said this too many times in my career, this isn't the time of the year for backs, right? Backs got to put pads on, and then that's really when you find out. And so, yeah, it's fun to see them, and they're fast, and they look the part, and they're getting better out there all their assignments. But we know that those types of players, when they get the pads on in training camp, that's when you really start to find out how much you really like that group. But I mean, they're a really good group of guys. They work hard. They work together. They're competitive with each other. And then, like I said, there's explosiveness in the group. There's pass catching in the group. There's toughness in the group. So there's a really cool blend of guys in that room.
Coming in as a new offensive coordinator, how important is it to get some of these veteran guys here for the non-mandatory OTAs to try and get as much installed as you can now?
Yeah, I think it's important to lay a foundation, and that's really, like I said, if we can establish our style and the brotherhood that we have in that room, we're gonna be just fine. And the schematic part of it is the second element of it, right? Guys got to be comfortable being able to react to things that happen, because the reality of it is we prepare them and we say it's going to look like this, and we call it for this, but there's often something that's slightly different. And those repetitions that you get with one another, that's how you become elite.
Hey Lucas, Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. It seems like you guys have a few different players on offense that can line up in multiple spots, whether it's Devontae or Brock Bowers or Michael Mayer. As offensive coordinator, how much flexibility does that give you to kind of get creative and switch around your alignment in the pass game to try to take advantage of matchups? Yeah,
that's huge, right? Because if you, again, just looking across the league from a defensive perspective, everybody's trying to do that on defense too. They want the DN that can rush and cover. They want the linebacker that can rush and cover. They want the nickel that can fit a B gap in and guard a slot, right? So everyone's trying to find that, and same thing on offense. We're doing the same thing, and the more flexibility you have with a player, that gives you more opportunity to do much different things. And then the second part of what you said is that the more people that you can have that can do those things, that's when your offense can get really good. That's when you have three different guys that can run one route, or three different guys that can do one type of concept. Now you're putting fear in the defense in a completely different way.
Thursday?
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Luke.